Right, so before we even get into the subject of how addictive Fortnite is, I do want to say a couple of things. One, I'm streaming tonight over on the Moisky Live channel, PMQ Response. It's all about climate change and the UK selling weapons to Saudi Arabia. Much fun. And also I upload regular content over there now. You will notice I don't do as much political content here anymore. That is because I've moved it over there. It is all political over there. I try to be neutral. I think I'm still somewhat neutral and pragmatic. Hopefully I stay that way. Also, because this is bugging me, yesterday it was quite warm in my town, and I saw a number of people with dogs in their cars with the windows shut. I waited by a car, and the owner then said to me, "Oh, I was only in there 5 minutes." Well, I timed it, and I was waiting for 22 minutes. I was quite hot outside, and I made it quite clear to the diminutive owner, should they do it again, I will break the windscreen of their car. I will do that for a child, I will do it for a dog, and I will do it because they suffer, because of idiots like you. Not you, my audience, the people who leave their cars with animals and children inside without a cold drink, air conditioning of any kind, so it's kind of unfair. And also to the same owners who walk their dogs across rather hot tarmac. I've walked on that same tarmac with my bare feet. I've seen the damage it does to my foot. Now imagine the damage it does to a dog's foot. Seriously. At this point, I'm starting to think humanity is too stupid to have a pet, and the roles should be reversed. Okay, so now that I've gotten that out of the way, I hear Fortnite is addictive, and we should ban it. This is a good thing, right guys? I mean, it's bad, like drugs and Napster, and that book where Dumbledore dies. Well, all jokes aside, this is according to Prince Harry, during a roundtable discussion on children's mental health at the YMCA in South Ealing, London, where he said social media is more addictive than drugs and alcohol, yet it's more dangerous because it's normalised, and there are no restrictions to it. And when he went on to discuss Fortnite, he said, it shouldn't be allowed due to their propensity to become addictive, with him being quoted as saying, where is the benefit in having that game in your household? It's created to addict. An addiction to keep you in front of a computer for as long as possible. It is so irresponsible. Before we even get into the discussion about Fortnite and whether or not it is addictive, we should, of course, I am going to congratulate him on his work championing for raising awareness for mental health. It is incredibly important. With video games we have a rather interesting problem, because there are addictive games. Many games are addictive. Some people going so far as to simply pull out their phone and play Candy Crush. Microtransactions binding them to games. There are games I've played in the past which were subscription-based, like World of Warcraft. Some people are obsessively playing that. Games like Rocket League bring out new DLCs all the time. Fortnite is no exception with their season passes. And people want it to have it. They become addicted to it because it is something they're either good at or something they enjoy. They become addicted to it because of what it does for them, what it fills in their life for them. Let's say it's a weakness in one's life that is exploited by a video game, all the while at the same time not really exploiting because some people actually enjoy it. So whether it is an addiction or not is dependent on what they get out of the game or what they want to get out of the game, how they interpret the game's use within their life. With these kinds of games like Fortnite and its predecessors and current competition, the obvious problem arises in that it is targeted to a certain audience, popularized by certain streamers, who appeal to that target audience. It is understandable there are many factors that play at getting children interested in watching it, although I would argue watching Ninja freak out during a game of Fortnite is better than most of the television you see on the BBC. Streaming is, after all, on the rise in popularity. This will undoubtedly shake the very foundation of what is considered good, bad, normal, and right and wrong. I think, as TV becomes less popular, streaming services, which would include Twitch streamers and YouTube streamers and any other platform streamers DLive as well, will become more popular. Does that make it addictive? Maybe. Maybe it's a contributing factor. I'm not entirely sure. There are studies on the addictive quality of video games. I don't know if I've ever fallen into the category personally of it, so whether or not I can truly empathise is a mystery. I know though that I, for the most part, refuse to get involved in microtransactions. Like Rocket League has the system with crates. You need to get the keys to unlock it, or decryptors. I'm not paying for those. I think I'd rather just have all those crates and never open them. PUBG did the same with crates and people having to buy keys or buy them off Steam. and Fortnite is no exception to this. Whether they should be banned or not for children, though, is a rather interesting argument. Most parents make the choice to restrict it to an extent, and they don't grant the kid access to their accounts so that the kid could then siphon a considerable amount of their own money, parents' money that is, into their game. But some children get creative and simply raid their parents' wallets or purses, and then the debt skyrockets. We've seen it in the news with Apple Store purchases going through the roof, music and other nonsense really. So it's not entirely uncommon, but that does not mean it's addictive at the same time. It just means the kid's a thieving little bastard that should be grounded into eternity. Is bastard a profanity? Am I going to get demonetized now? As a consequence of what Harry said back in April, the creators of Fortnite have said that Prince Harry was wrong to label the game addictive. He should have said the game is rubbish. But as it has an audience, a rather substantial one, I'm going to refrain in case I get desperate enough and start streaming it just out of curiosity. But as I suck at PvP for the most part, don't expect it anytime soon. At a Commons committee, a representative for Fortnite developer Epic Games said the firm had been surprised by the criticism from the Royal, with them being quoted as saying, "It's really always been our effort and intent to create fun, fair, flexible, engaging and generous form of interactive entertainment for our audience. And so I feel like a statement that suggests that there was some sort of nefarious attempt to extract short-term profit is a real mischaracterization." That was so politically written, I really appreciate it. The reason for this, which actually included why EA were also questioned at the committee meeting, was because they wanted to discuss gaming addiction. There is also a current bit of legislation people are trying to push to ban loot boxes, V-Bucks even, the in-game purchasing of crates, because there is a problem with children being perceived to have been taken advantage of. After all, it is not their own money for the most part that they are wasting, it is their parents, who should do a better job at protecting their accounts. At the same time, one must also try and take into account that children are developing certain traits that we don't want them to have. That constant impulsive need to have something, instead of considering the options where there are available to earn it. I earlier mentioned to you Rocket League have crates, and sometimes you get keys, you buy them, or get decryptors. You can earn decryptors. You can earn them by playing the game. I would rather do that for rubbish decals that I typically get than buy and get rubbish decal, unless there's an algorithm in place that says when the keys are purchased, there's more chance I'll get a nice set of tyres or a decent car model. As you can tell, I don't know much about Fortnite, but I do know enough about in-game transactions to know that it is not ideal to have a child anywhere near the accounts that would otherwise be able to purchase it. I do tend to think Fortnite is a fun game, but I can understand in the PvP setting how there is an addictive quality to it. I do not believe that the government should seek to legislate banning access to these games for certain ages, because I think it is down to the parents to determine whether or not the game is suitable for their child. At the Commons hearing, EU's UK manager, Sean Campbell, had said the WHO's classification of gaming disorder as a disease meant it was more complicated than simply labelling it as an addiction, with him being quoted as saying, "We want players to take a healthy and balanced approach to playing games, just like anything else," which I would believe if FIFA didn't utterly fleece people's accounts for those FIFA points and those 100,000 point packs. Yeah, hard to take you seriously when you're utterly destroying people. Continuing the quote as, "If you look at FIFA players, lol, they are competitive and want a career in esports, so they practice and spend time playing the game. It's about what feels out of balance for an individual." I would agree, but I think my point is pretty clear on that. EA are probably the wrong company to speak to about in-game transactions, since they make so much of their money from it. I mean, look at the number of people streaming FIFA these days. Yeah, there aren't as many anymore, because they all went to Fortnite, because they were so sick of the rubbish cards and players they were getting. Oh dear. And I only know that after watching KSI get so irritated because of it. He even made skits abusing you because of it. I'll link the skits below. They are very funny. With Fortnite, I don't believe that the Commons should seek to ban it for children. I've said this before, I know, but I want to restate it as a final point. I do believe there's an addictive quality, and perhaps that should be addressed. I don't believe Prince Harry was right to say it should be banned, but I do think because of what he's championing, I don't believe he spends much time playing video games. so he doesn't understand why it is so appealing. He sees it as an outsider and has a very narrow perspective. But I do think Fortnite or Epic Games should do more to try and tackle the issues arising from addiction with younger people. Perhaps getting involved in mental health awareness, raising those concerns maybe through some miniature ads or placements within their own video loadings, would encourage children to be more aware. I don't know why I'm coming up with solutions here, to be honest. It is entirely down to them. It's not a game that interests me because I play truck games, which many of you would have known from last night had my stream not crashed 3 times. Thanks, OBS. And BT, you can suck one.